Hello, everyone. uh, Hope you all are doing well. Uh, my name is Abdul Basit, and I'm your facilitator for Oxford Brookes University thesis project for the upcoming periods, right? So basically, I had received many queries after the video which we had just published that admissions are open. So I just thought that I would just give a brief orientation session and would publish it just to clear doubts that students have, right? Uh, Regarding the Oxford Brookes University, regarding what were the changes from the previous pattern of OBU and how we are going to deal with OBU, how we are going to do it, and the ending that has been announced in the 2026. All your queries of kind of this will be answered in this session, right? And after that, if there are any other questions, you guys can text me on WhatsApp. You guys can visit our campus and have a meeting with me, and then can lead to your decision, right? So let's just start for Oxford Brookes University thesis project. That's basically BSc in Applied Accounting, and that's also known as BSc in Applied Accounting, right? And that's also known as the research analysis project, right? That's also known as the research analysis project. Basically, now we have moved from period 45 and 46, right? Now we have moved from period 45 and 46, and now we are on 47 and 48. The info pack has not been yet published. The info pack had not yet been published, so therefore I've used the previous one. There are not significant changes. There are no significant changes from in info pack. Therefore, I've used it. As once the OBU has issued the info pack revised, I'll share it in my group, right? So there is not much changes in the info pack, and we can use it, right? And we can use it definitely. Just any of the student, if just can confirm me that screen is clear and voice is clear, so that we can move on, right? So that we can move on. Yeah. So several confirmations I have received, and that's perfect. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, basically, info pack is a vast document. If you can just count on the pages, then we have I guess more than 50-60 pages, right? So we cannot cover all those pages in one session. So what I'm going to do, the strategy for the orientation is being that we'll cover important parts of the info pack, and I'll make it a shorter info pack for you, which I'll be sharing in my group along with the lengthier version of it, right? So you guys can have a class and have the shorter version of info pack with you, and then after that you can read the complete info pack, and surely it's going to be easy because you have just been your mind has just been set by reading the shorter version of it, right? So we're going to be making some shorter version. I'm going to paste some important extracts on your, and that will be available in your phone, right? So that will be on your info pack, that if you has just got any question in your mind, you can just open the shorter notes of it, right? So the first question that arises, of the OBU orientation session, the OBU orientation session, that what is BSc in applied accounting, right? Why we should go for BSc in applied accounting? So that's a very valid question, right? That's a very valid question, that what is BSc in applied accounting, and why we should go that, right? And why we should go for it. So it's the first question here, and see, where is the answer? The complete detail is in info pack. The complete detail is in info pack. So we're gonna be scrolling in info pack, and that's available on page 4. So let's move on to page 4. Here's the index, right? Here's the index, and here you go. So what is BSc in applied accounting, huh? So what is BSc in applied accounting? The BSc in applied accounting is the result of unique collaboration between OBU and ACCA. Yeah, it's a collaboration, right? It's a collaboration between OBU and ACCA, right? It's a collaboration between OBU and ACCA, so that a student can gain an undergraduate degree while studying your professional qualification. As ACCA and a professional qualification, you must need a degree, right, to prevail in your organization and to prevail if you're working abroad, or as well as here in Pakistan, you just need a degree, right? So OBU gives you an opportunity to earn a degree with your professional qualification. So OBU Oxford Brookes University gives you a degree, that is BSc in Applied Accounting, which you can earn with ACCA, right? Which you can earn with ACCA. Now, BSc in Applied Accounting is an honors level undergraduate award that prepares students for careers as professional accountants and to make a wider contribution to their organizations, communities, and society. Right? So BSc in Applied Accounting is an honors level undergraduate. It's an undergraduate degree, right? That prepares a student, that vast student's career, that diversifies student's career, that have a multiple qualification. A student after that have a multiple qualification, professional accountants, and to make a wider contribution to their organization, right? It's one of the important website here, which you could have a more detailed of it. There's a link given. You guys can visit to it. You guys will have a more idea of what's Oxford Brookes University and what this collaboration is and what they have planned, right, regarding the students, those who have this degree. So here we go. I'm going to extract it so that our question gets intact, right? So that our questions gets intact. I'll just paste this, right? Yeah. So here we go. I have incorporated the definition of what is BSc in Applied Accounting right here. So you'll get a mini info pack in my document. So you'll just go through it. You'll have a complete detail of BSc in Applied Accounting within this regards. And then I'll recommend each and every student who is taking this orientation session shall go through the info pack, and it's going to be very informative for that, right? Initially it's going to be sounding some difficulty, but when you have this session, you can look into it and there's no problem. There's going to be no problem, right? So the first question which we answered is, what is BSc in Applied Accounting? So it's a unique collaboration between OBU and ACCA. It will give you an undergraduate degree. It will widen your career aspects regarding the accountants, right? And it will enable you to create wider organization contributions, right, to the communities, to the organization, to society. Fine. The next question, which we usually have, is that what is the eligible criteria? What is the eligibility criteria? So here's the second question we're gonna be having. The eligibility criteria. Do we guys are eligible for it or not, right? Do we guys are eligible for it or not? So yeah, in info pack, there's a complete map given for the eligibility, and we're gonna be discussing it, and I'll put some extracts here, right? So here's the eligibility. See, here's the eligibility, and now you guys will assess yourself that whether you are eligible for it or not. Now you guys have to assess yourself that whether you guys are eligible for it or not, right? So in order to be eligible to submit RAP, that's research analysis project, in order to be eligible to submit RAP, what you guys need to do, you have to pass the 3 ACCA applied skills examination: financial reporting, audit and assurance, financial management, right? So the 3 of the exams need to be passed at any cost. Like if someone is coming from another qualification, he might be have taken some exemptions, right? If someone is coming from other qualification, he might have taken some exemptions with themselves. So OBU has done a mandatory clause that you need to pass your F7, F8, and F9. That's for sure. You guys need to pass it, right? Have passed or gained exemptions on the other 6 papers and the knowledge level and skills level. So if I could just map it down, to make you guys understand, that you must be going through these papers, right? F1, F2, F3, F4, then we have F5, F6, F7, F8, and F9, right? Just forget about the new names. If you guys want to write, you can. BT, MA, FA, LW, PM, TX, FR, AA, and FM, right? So what OBU has did here, they have incorporated a mandatory clause that if anyone is going to be an OBU, if anyone is going to take an OBU degree, they have to pass, right? They have to pass these 3 papers at any cost. F7, F8, F9, they have to pass it, right? They have to pass it. And these 6 papers, these guys have to pass it, or the exemptions could also be working right here, or the exemptions could also be working here. So now see what we have got from here, that if you are from any other qualification and you have got an exemptions, you have got an exemptions for F1 to F9. For OBU, you guys need to give F7, F8, F9 exams, right? You guys need to give F7, F8, F9. Yeah, F1 to F6, the exemptions could work. And if someone is starting his ACCA journey, he needs to pass all 9 papers and then he can appear for OBU. So the first eligibility criteria is you have to be a part qualified person, and you should have passed F7, F8, F9 for sure. You should have passed F7, F8, F9 for sure, right? Then have completed ACCA ethics and professional skills module. Yeah, for sure. You guys need to have this EPSM module be completed, right? EPSM module being completed. We have a deadline to complete it. I'll be discussing that deadline also. We have a deadline to complete this, right? We'll just discuss the deadlines in the later part of our session, but there's a deadline to complete, to pass the F9 till F9 paper, and there's a deadline to complete the ethics and professional skills module, right? And obviously your subscription fees needs to be clear up. If you're appearing for OBU, you must have your subscription being clear, right? Similarly, passing your RAP within 10 years of its earliest of the date of your first ACCA examination pass, or the date of your first ACCA exemption being granted. Yeah, that's a mandatory thing, that you should be completing your OBU from the day you have passed your ACCA examination till 10 years, right? If you have been associated with ACCA in ACCA exams for more than 10 years, there's a possibility that you have passed the ACCA exam like in 2001 or 2011. So you are not eligible for OBU, right? For going for OBU, there's a criteria, there's a clause of 10 years. You must have passed the ACCA exams, your first ACCA exams before 10 years, right? Of the OBU you are appearing. For example, we are going for November 23 attempt, right? For example, we are going for November 23 attempt. So you guys must have passed your first ACCA exam after November 13, right? Not before. If you're going before November 13, you are too old for OBU, right? You are too old for OBU. And similarly, if you have passed 3 ACCA examinations in the 5-year period before submission of your RAP. And if you're not thinking about F1 to F9, then you must have to think about the past. You have applied skilled and professional examination, that you have must pass these examination before 5 years. So there are two clauses, that's 10 years and 5 years, right? The 10 years are for first ACCA paper, right? You have to submit your RAP the 10 years in which year you have got admission or you have given the first exam, and after that the 10 years are the limit that you have to submit OBU, right? And then 10 years are the limit that you have to submit OBU. And similarly, if we are talking about the professional skills, you should have 3 ACCA papers if you have passed 3 ACCA professional skills examination in the 5-year period before submission of your RAP, right? So the 10 years and 5 years are the criteria here. So the 10 years and 5 years are the criteria here, right? Being a full member of ACCA of good standing and who have taken their ACCA papers or received examination under the ACCA syllabus. Basically, there was a syllabus change in 1993. So I guess the students who are listening to this recording are either born after 1993, right? So no worries. In fact, I am born after 1993. So this clause is not applicable on us, right? So we are after that, and we have a recent qualification. So don't you guys worry of the third clause. We don't need to worry about the third clause, but we need to worry about of the applied skills and professional skills clause and the first ACCA examination clause, right? So November 23 and November 13 will give you a more broader picture of this task, right? See, if you are a student and hold exemption, now here comes a very important part. That if you're a student and hold exemption of ACCA, F7, F8, and F9. If you are a chartered accountant from other body and you want to gain ACCA, you came into ACCA gives you exemptions of skills module. That means your F1 to F9 are exempted. So you should remember the first clause, and the first clause was to pass F7, F8, F9, right? The first clause was to pass F7, F8, and F9. So here what we have to do, you need to forfeit your exemptions, right? Here you need to do is to forfeit your exemptions, right? So you cannot reverse this decision. If you decided to forfeit F7, F8, F9, you need to appear for that and you need to pass those examinations, and then only you can go for OBU. That means if someone has got exemptions of F7, F8, and F9, he need to forfeit his exemptions, right? He need to forfeit his exemptions, and this decisions cannot be reversed in his entire life. This decision cannot be reversed in its entire life, right? And once you have forfeited, you cannot reverse it. Fine. So I'm going to paste this eligibility criteria for sure. I'm going to paste this eligibility criteria, right? So don't you worry. I hope you guys are getting my point. If there's any query, you guys text me. You guys can text me either on WhatsApp or on the chat box that's available. Yeah, those who are taking the recording shall be looking into texting me on WhatsApp, right? So it's eligibility criteria. We are having a look on it. I again would remind you that we are just making a extract of, the info pack, so that you guys can revise these things at any time. If you are forgetting about this, right, you guys can help the others, those who are not clearing their doubts, right? So this is why I'm just pasting here, and then in the group I'll share complete this info pack and the extracted version of info pack, right? So here we go. What's BSc in Applied Accounting? We did that. We had a great discussion on eligibility criteria. That's F1 to F9, from which last 3 exams needs to be passed, right? And then the 10 years and the 5 years thing, we had done this, right? You should not be a 10-year prior student, and you should not be a 5-year prior student from your professional skill papers, right? Then if you are, then you are not eligible for OBU. If you are for that, then you are not eligible for OBU, right? Now, the third question which we have is the bursaries. Now, what's bursaries? See, OBU would ask you to pay a fees of, right? OBU would ask you to pay a fees of around 475 to 495 pounds. Varies to the to the submission period wise. It varies. Like in period 45, 46, it was around 450 or 475 pounds. But for period 47 and 48, it's 495 pounds, right? So there are some bursaries. If you guys want to have, you can look into it. There is no problem, right? If you guys want to have it, you can look into it, right? The students, those who are in financial circumstances, difficult financial circumstances, the bursary covers the submission fee for the first time submission, right? So this bursary is given to a student who has been in a difficult financial circumstances, right? And the bursary covers submission fee for the first time submission, not for the second, third, and fourth time, right? It's for the first time submission of the RAP. The bursary does not cover any cost associated with mentoring. Yeah, so you need to bear your mentor cost by yourself, right? The bursary would just allow you. The bursary would just allow you to submit your first time project, and the mentor cost needs to be bear still by yourself, right? The mentor cost still needs to be bear by yourself, and the bursary is awarded for any specific submission period, right? You just need to have into the email that these are the bursaries. This for this period I'm going to have it, and we have a link here for which the application form can be submitted, right? For which we have application form can be submitted here, right? And applications should be submitted before 1st January for May, right? Must be submitted by 1st January, and for November this should be submitted by 1st July. If you want to go for it, you can have a look on to the brooks.acca.ac.uk, and you can apply for bursaries, but you need to justify your difficult financial circumstances, and it requires some other criteria as well, right? And it requires some other criteria as well. So let's just crop it and paste there. And come on, that doesn't mean that you all go for the bursary, right? That totally doesn't mean that, right? Yeah, it has a limit. It has a limit per attempt, and it's globally, not for just on Pakistan, right? It's not for just on Pakistan. It's for globally. Yeah. So we discussed bursaries also, right? We discussed bursaries also. Then we can go on to the project itself, that what's exactly the project, right? We discussed bursaries also, and now we'll discuss what is exactly the project, right? So let's discuss it here. See, what is project requirements, right? what is project requirements? You should be understanding that Brooks would require some kind of documents that you need to prepare and submit, right? So it's basically, you guys have 5 deliverables. You guys need to submit 5 deliverables by yourself, right? You guys need to submit 5 deliverables by yourself. And what are these 5 deliverables? These are known as RAP, that's a research analysis project, right? These are basically known as RAP, that's a research analysis project. And the other thing is SLS, that's skills and learning statement. I'll make you learn what are these statements, right? So don't you worry, what are these, what we need to do in these. So we'll discuss this in detail in the classes, and also when you'll be making these reports, I'll give a brief review of how you can enhance your writing skills in it, right? So skills and learning statement, here we have, right? Then we have a spreadsheet to be made here. Those who are working in an organization, so they must be knowing the spreadsheet, right? Then we have a PowerPoint presentation, a summary of RAP. It's also known as the summary RAP, right? You need to summarize and you need to present the PowerPoint presentation in front of your mentor. And then we have a list of references, right? It's a regular report that you need to make while making your research analysis project. So you need to make your referencing, and the Harvard referencing is used in it. So it'll let you know, don't you guys worry about these reports. Only these 2 reports are time taking, and rest, there is easy. Spreadsheet is totally easy to make, right? Spreadsheet is totally easy to make. You just need to make an Excel of the financials, and you need to plot it. You need to make graphs. You need to make a ratio analysis. You need to perform different ratio analysis, right? So spreadsheet is totally easy to make, right? PowerPoint summary, it's line by line with RAP, and list of references are totally made with research analysis projects, so you don't need to worry on that, right? So RAP and SLS are the main projects, main reports that you need to be making, and these are only a 1-day summary. That PowerPoint is made in 1 day, spreadsheet is totally a 1-day game, list of references a long lasting project of RAP. Once you are making RAP, your references are surely going to be making with RAP, right? So we'll let you know that how to make it. So these are the 5 project deliverables which you need to make. These are the 5 project deliverables that you need to make in it, right? Then here we go. So what's in research analysis project? What's the research analysis project? You basically, RAP is basically designed to allow you to demonstrate graduate level skills, right? RAP is basically designed to allow you to demonstrate graduate level skills that are not otherwise tested in the examination. So basically it's F1 to F9, you haven't been tested about the graduate level skills. So RAP is basically allowing you to learn graduate level skills, right? There are 2 elements of research report. These are 2 elements, right? RAP research analysis project includes research report and SLS, right? Research analysis project includes research report and SLS, right? Research report requires 7,500 words, right? It has 3 parts in it. It has 3 parts in it, part 1, part 2, part 3, right? Part 1 requires 1,500 words. Part 2 require 1,000 words, right? And part 3 require around 5,000 words. It's not a strict rule that you must be sticking around 7,500 dot words. It can be 7,000 to 7,500 in between of that, right? It can be 7,000 to 7,500 in between of that. And once we are in classes, we are surely going to be discussing how to start the research report, what to do, what to write, what to go ahead. So don't you worry about that. But you should be knowing before coming into the classes that research report requires 7,500 words needs to be written in it. And similarly, once we have done research report, then we are going to have SLS, that skills and learning statement, and that's going to be taking 2,000 words, right? But that's skills and learning statement, and that's going to be taking 2,000 words, right? So research report requires 7,500 words, whereas SLS requires 2,000 words in it, 2,000 words with you, right? SLS is basically what you guys have learned in research analysis project. You need to write this on in SLS, right? Basically, it's not just like an examination that you are going to attempt in ACCA. It's a graduate level skill. It's a research based game. You need to research different resources, you need to work on different resources, you need to visit those different resources, and then you need to apply those researches that you have made. So SLS is basically to justify your learning, that what you guys have learned in skills and learning statement. SLS is basically that to justify your report, right? To justify your learning. See, reflect, the SLS requires you to reflect on RAP experience and consider the ways in which you have developed and how this will help you in this future, right? And this is also graded as pass and fail. Sometimes I've seen that research report is passed but SLS is failed. So you need to pass research report, you need to pass SLS, you need to pass research report, and you need to pass SLS, right? So here we have the research report. We should be having a look on it. So 7,500 words, then we have 2,000 words, right? Then it's basically a breakup given that research report, you undertake a research based project, right? And you'll be given one of these three pass grades, A, B, or C. Similarly, SLS would require RAP experience, and you have developed and how this will help you in future. This is graded as pass or fail. If you pass both elements of RAP, your overall grade is graded as awarded to RR. That means that you need to pass RAP as well as SLS, and then it will be a complete overall grade of research report and skills and learning statement, right? If there are any questions, you guys can text me on WhatsApp. Here we go. Yeah, for sure, you need to pass SLS as well as the research report. That's mandatory. You need to pass both of the projects, right? If any of the project is failed, that means your RAP is considered as failed, right? Obviously, resubmission have some different rules. We're gonna be discussing that also. So don't you guys worry. But for sure, if you're doing an appropriate level of hard work in it, you are not going to be failing this, right? This requires a bit of luck and many of hard work, so you should be focusing on that, right? Resubmission, I'll let you know what is this, but you should not be focusing on what's the resubmission is required until and unless you are resubmitting, right? So we'll have a session on resubmission on also, right? With individual feedbacks with being given to you. So don't you guys worry. If you need any consultation regarding it, I'm always available at campus as well as on WhatsApp, so you guys can text me, right? So that was project requirements which we had. Now see, we have to make 5 reports. And if you're thinking about, if you're just discussing it, we have to make 5 reports, right? So what are the topics we have? What are the topics we have in it, right? What are the topics we have? So let's discuss that also. Let's discuss that also, that what are the topics we are going to have in it. Right, it's just a summary, so we'll discuss this page also. We'll discuss this page also, don't you guys worry on that. We'll shortly discuss that, right? We'll have a brief session on research report and SLS, and I'll let you know from where to start and where to end. So don't you worry on that, right? And your every query is surely gonna. Yeah. So here we have the topics, right? Here we have the topics, right? Uh, See, there are a few important things which you should be remembering while opting for a topic. Previously, if you know, the OBU has just made a shift, right? They have changed the topics. Previously, there were lesser topics. Now they have broadened the horizons. They have incorporated some more topics in it, right? So we're gonna be discussing each and every topic, and we'll be then I'll give you just an option that you should be going for these topics, right? So you should have uh, a thought process in it, but you'll surely gonna be discussing all topics in this session. We have research report topics here, right? Analyze and evaluate impact on business and financial performance of organizations, right? Aspect of organizations' performance management system, that's budgetary control system, costing, and environmental, right? Then impact of positive or negative of internal digital and technological innovation. This is the second topic you should be, you can be go through, right, for RAP. That's any organization that has been technologically innovated itself, right? If any new business process they had made, new software or hardware, new supplier customer processes, right? Then we have financial performance of organization, recent change import by the regulatory environment, any regulatory changes that have incorporated the organization's business. If I just give you an example of my country in which I am, here the pharmaceutical companies cannot increase the prices by itself, right? So in our country, when the dollar got when the rupee got devaluated, and the pharma imports were higher, so they were importing the expensive raw material for themselves, right? So if they were importing the expensive raw material, they could not increase the prices by themselves, because here's a regulatory body, RAP, its name is RAP. So they didn't allow to increase the prices, right? So for that particular year in which the dollar got evaluated and the rupee got devaluated, it makes a loss to the pharmaceutical companies, because their cost of imports got higher. That means their cost of raw material got higher, but they could not increase the prices. So this is basically the impact on financial performance of organizations that recently that regulatory environment imposed, right? So it's not particular to the environment, but you can take such examples of an organization, right? That any legislation change of the environment, if you can think of it, if there's a legislation just passed for the car, for the motor vehicles, on the CO2 emission, that if any particular motor vehicle have emitting the CO2 for that gram, so its performance, its selling is going to be impacted, right? If in fact its production can be seized, if the government has allowed only 100 grams of CO2 can be composed, but the motor company, the manufacturer, and the car is importing more carbon dioxide, so that means it's going to be difficult for the survival. So that's an environment, regulatory environment change. So any topic you guys can choose, right? Any topic you guys can choose, any regarding taxation policy and the accounting standards, right? Analyze and evaluate the business and financial performance of an organization which has performed exceptionally poor over the 3 year, right? And critical analysis for its difficulties. And surely the reason of the poor cannot be the COVID-19. And because in the COVID-19, the every organization had a poor results. So that is subject to the few, right? Subject to the few that made an exceptional profits, just like Zoom. So you can opt for a performance and business analysis for the organization that has been making losses, and similarly that has been making the profits. So here we have that has been making the profits, right? Exceptionally poorly. And similarly, the next topic here, financial performance of organization which has performed exceptionally well over the 3 year period, which has performed exceptionally well over the 3 year period, right? The exceptional performance needs to have evident from the last 3 years. May find COVID-19. Yeah, you can have say, you can say that the COVID-19 is also the reason, but not only the reason of the best performance, right? Can be the reason, but not only the reason of the uh, best performance, right? You must justify the choice of organization, right? You have to justify, and you have to consider the performance exceptionally strong, right? Then analyze and evaluate effectiveness of the key factors that have impact on employees in an organization, right? And research an organization that has undergone a major change. Yeah, research any organization that has undergone a major change in it, right? A restructuring, business combination, development, or significant new market or sector. Analyze and evaluate business performance over 3-year period. Operating in a sector has faced strategic and operational challenges with an emphasis on management, how these management have addressed that, right? So the fourth one, the fifth one, I'm just making stars here, right? So I'll let you know why I'm making the stars here, right? So this is also the topic, management change with a specific area organization resulting for a strategic decision. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Sorry, guys, my internet got interrupted. So the 12th is the 11th, in fact, was using of data to inform and getting the strategy advantage, right? And analyze and evaluate effectiveness and aspect of control environment. Then we have research on organization that is recognized a poor ethical businesses practices, right? You must not be getting data of that particular topic, I guess. Then we have research and organization that is recognized as having a particularly strong ethical background practices, right? uh, Analyze and evaluate impact of financial business performance and strategy adopted by organization functional areas. So these are all the topics here, right? These are total 15 topics, right? These are total 15 topics, and you have to select one topic now. You have to select one topic now for sure. These are total 15 topics, and you have to select one topic now. And once you have selected one topic, then what you have to do, then you have to uh, make this 5 reports on those topics, right? Make this by 5 reports on those topics. Now see, previously in the previous form of OBU, like just a year ago, the OBU has just revised, right? The OBU has just revised the guidelines now. Previously, the year ago, there was limited topics, not that much topics, right? And those topics had a common topic of topic 8, right? Previously, the topic 8 was the most common topic. Previously, the topic 8 was the most common topic, right? And that was basically business and financial analysis, right? Business and financial analysis. That was previously the most common topic. Now, since OBU has been an innovative organization, it has innovated itself, right? It has innovated itself. So now this into the new form. Now this topic has been classified into 3 new topics. This topic has been classified into 3 new topics. That's fourth, fifth, and eighth, right? If you can just remember, I've started just some topics, and see in which the topics that I've started is fourth, is fifth, is eighth, and is 15, right? And is 15. So why I have started this? Uh, I would prefer every student, I would just request, and in fact, I would just guide every student that choose the topic that requires secondary sources of data to be researched. If you're going for a topic which requires primary source of data. That means you need to have the authentic sources of the company's data so that you can do the research. So the topics which require primary sources would not and cannot be easily covered, right? If you are talking about the topic one, so it requires the budgetary control system, it requires the management accounting, right? It requires the management accounting to be performed. So that means the management accounts are not that easily available, and you cannot obviously go for the company. If I opt a Ferrari for the company that I would research for, how would I go to the US and go into the head office and wherever the head office is? That means that I could not just easily perform this topic, because I would need the Ferrari's budgets, right? I'd just need the company's budgets, right? And if I'm going for the budgets, I'll be visiting those companies. I'll need the primary data, which is not easily available, right? Which is not easily available. So you need to consider those topics in your dictionary that you would research for that requires secondary source of data. Secondary source of data, I'll just give you a definition. What's the primary source, what's the secondary source? Secondary source are not directly from the company but from others, right? So we would be thinking of the topics which require secondary source of data, and in that we have three topics in it, right? The fourth, fifth, and eighth. Why I have started, then the student asked that why I have started the 15th topic. The 15th topic is start just because if you had an experience in HR, if you are from the other qualification, like you have done BBA in marketing, so you could go for this topic, but this again would require the primary source, which are not easily available. Like if I opted Unilever, so I need to visit Unilever many times to assess the marketing strategy they have been, to assess the environmental and sustainability strategy they have been in, right? So it's not easily, and the organizations can easily not allow you to come there, right? So we will be focusing on those topics which require secondary source and which requires the business and financial analysis. The business analysis is basically the model analysis, the SWOT model, the pestle model, the Porter model. These type of analysis needs to be a business analysis, and you can easily do that, right? You have studied, and I'll guide you to. And financial analysis are basically the ratio analysis, the profitability ratio, the liquidity ratio, the gearing ratio, the leverage ratio, your working capital ratios. You should need to focus on that, right? So I'll just request the students to have a brief review on these topics, and after having reviewed these topics, you should be thinking of that what will you opt for, right? And I'll just suggest you to go for 4th, 5th, and 8th, right? I'll just suggest you. Why? Because it requires analysis of the business and financial, which you guys are good at, and it requires secondary resources, which are easily accessible, right? Which are easily accessible. So 4th, 5th, and 8th would be my priority. The students can opt for any of the thing. They need to make those 5 reports for each of the topic they have just made. So it's on to them, right? It's on to them. I'll just paste these 3 topics, and obviously these 3 topics have a good passing ratio also. It's above 90%, right? It's above 90%. So these topics had a good passing ratio for sure. Yeah, previously it also had the good passing ratio. Previously it also had the good passing ratio. See, I have just incorporated these the topics which you gonna be listening, or which you're gonna be having research, right? Doing research. Right? So these 3 are easily topics, easy topics that can be covered. It had a greater passing ratio. Yeah, previously topic 8 also had the greater passing ratio. So I'll suggest these 3 topics can be taken. Else you can go for the 15th, but that would also require the to visit the company. If you had experience on supply chain, marketing, environment, then you can go for these topics. But I would suggest these 3 topics, right? I would suggest these 3 topics to be taken. Are there any questions till now? If there are any questions, you can ask me, right? You can ask me on WhatsApp, on either on Zoom chat box for the students, those who are taking the live classes. Yeah. So if I just want to summarize that what's RR, that's research report, right? RAP is research analysis project, right? RAP is research analysis project, and it requires you to submit these 2 reports, which will be assessed as being passed or failed, right? And that's research report, and that's skills and learning statement, that known as RR. And then here we have skills and learning statement, and that's known as SLS, right? And that's known as SLS, right? So it's good. I'll just give you a summary of these 2 reports, as this would require our major time, right? I'll just give you a summary of this report. That these 2 reports which you are guys are to making, have to make it, right? And it would require the major time. Yeah, it would require the major time. You need, if you are going for the research report and if your topic is finalized, you need to think the info is easily available. You need to have a look on it, that you should be opting for a topic that's info is easily available. And my preferable topics are 458, right? My preferable topics are 458. Yeah, those who have done SBL, it's gonna be helping in it. It's gonna be helping OBU students, right? Those who have done SBL, it's surely gonna be helping OBU students. Why? Because it teach you the business analysis, the models, right? It teach you the models, so it's a good thing. If you guys have done SBL, so it's surely be a good thing for you. If not, that's also not to worry. You have done these analysis in F1 also, so that knowledge can also be used, right? That knowledge can also be used, right? So no need to worry on that. Similarly, yes, structure of every topic is same. Don't worry. Structure of every topic is same, right? I'll just summarize the things which I have taught you. Structure of every topic is same, and that's the 5 reports you need to make. And that's for sure the 5 reports you need to make, right? It requires, the research report requires a lot of research, right? A lot of research, a lot of resources to be fetching, right? A lot of resources you need to fetch, a lot of research. You need to find facts, right? You need to perform factual analysis, right? You need to perform factual analysis. You need to find facts, right? You need to have things in your mind. You need to have annual reports of the companies, right? You can choose whatever topic, right? I just preferred suggest you mine, and you can choose whatever topic you want, right? You can choose whatever topic you guys want. No worries on that. Yeah, financial analysis include ratios. Yeah, financial analysis includes ratios. Yeah, it includes ratios, right? Then we have SLS. And what's SLS? See, you need to write the learnings of RR, right? You need to write here the learnings of RR. It's a format, right? It's a format. You need to follow that format, right? It's an SLS, that how would you start, how would you end, what you have learned, what you had gone through, all right? it's basically SLS is that RR gets you disciplined, right? The research report gets you disciplined. So in ACCA you haven't done any research, right? You just have studied and given the exam and passed the exam. So in OBU you are going to learn the research, right? You are going to learn the research report, and that's for sure a good thing, right? That's for sure a good thing. It gives you it gives you writing skills. The OBU gives you writing skills. It gives you analytical skills, right? It gives you analytical skills with you. So these are the skills which are surely important for a student, right? These are the skills that have surely important. And the PPT that you made, you will be presenting this PPT to the mentors, right? You're presenting this PowerPoint to the mentor. So it's also a learning that you are coming in front of a mentor, presenting your research analysis in a summarized version through PowerPoint. So that's right. You'll write in SLS that what activities did you then, right, to find these resources. What activities did you done to find these resources, right? So here we go on a summary of research report and SLS. Here we go on a summary of research report and SLS, and I hope it's clear now, right? I hope it's clear till now. Yeah. So I hope the session has been an informative for you, and you must be knowing that the task which is currently here, right? So we'll go on to the other questions which student usually ask after the topics. That's the fees, right? What's the fees of OBU? So obviously the fees depends on attempt, right? It depends on attempts, right? On which attempt we are going for period. We are going for period 47, right? We are going for period 47 for sure. The info pack which I have been using, is 45 and 46, but we are going for 47. The info pack will be published soon, right? So period 47, what are the charges? I'll just let you know here. It's written here, right? So I'll just let you know. Yeah, on page 27, here we have. Yeah. So see, we can have this information in the submission section about the submission, how to submit. But obviously, once you are in the classes, I'll let you know how to submit, but it's available in this section. So you guys can anytime visit, right? The submission portal will open for registration on the first day of submission, whatever the first day is in the November or May, right? Familiarize yourself with the submission portal early. Yeah, you guys can familiarize yourself with the submission portal early so that you can submit, right? You're required to pay a project submission fee to OBU with any project submission, and the fee for resubmission is fee for that period, right? So if you're resubmitting, that means you need to pay again the fees, right? You need to pay again the fees. So period 45 and 46, the fees was 470, right? And a latest date of completing ethics module was 23rd September 2022, right? I'll write the period 47 details here, don't worry. New mentors registered, that's for me, don't you guys worry. Earliest receipt of project OBU is 1st November, right? The first day that you need to submit the project is 1st November, right? And latest receipt of project is 9th November. BSc degree results is 22nd March. So it lets you know that if you are attempting for the November attempt, if you're going for the November attempt, that will just give you to get your result in March, right? And similarly, if you're going for my attempt, it will give you a result for September, right? Submissions are only accepted between the earliest and the latest receipt date. So only submissions can be made is that earliest and latest receipt, not after and not before that, right? not after and not before that, right? So you should also be remembering that, right? Now, sir, kindly tell us the submission fee of period 47 and 48, right? So let's discuss that also. Period 47 and period 48, right? So let's just discuss the period 47 and 48. So period 47 fees is £495. Previously it was 470, but it's November 23, the attempt which I'm providing my mentoring services, right? It's November 2023. Ethics module, you have to perform that ethics module which is available in your ACCA account, right? It charges a minimal cost. It's available in your ACCA account, and you need to perform that ethics module in till 22nd September. 22nd September 23, right? Then the submission here is from 1st November 23 to 1st November 23 to 8 November 23, right? And the results here are on 22nd March 24. So it follows the same pattern, right? It follows the same pattern. You guys don't need to worry on the pattern here, right? You guys don't need to worry on the pattern here. It follows the same pattern. And similarly, through thinking on here, period 46, you can think of period 48 also, and fee for period 48 is fixed. Fee for period 48 is fixed as £495, so you don't need to worry, right? Our target attempt is period 47, and that's November 2023, for which I am providing my mentor services for that, right? For which I am providing my mentor services, right? Yeah, I would also recommend you to submit or not, because I just don't want you to waste out your 495. So it will be a check from my side, and then obviously if I have given you a go ahead, then obviously you're surely gonna be passed, right? Don't you guys worry. The 90% of students passed if the mentor has given an go ahead to that, right? And similarly, the assessment criteria, how your report is going to be evaluated, on what basis it's going to be evaluated, right? The assessment criteria which we need to look at, it's an important thing, right? It's an important thing. Yeah, so it's the assessment criteria. See, uh to achieve an overall pass grade, you need to achieve A, B, or C. Yeah, it's the grades, right? It's the grades. You need to achieve A, B, and C with yourself here. You need to achieve A, B, and C with yourself here, right? Technical and professional skills which are being tested in OBU. Technical and professional skills which are being tested in OBU is understanding of accountancy, business models, right? Understanding of accountancy and business models. You should be having that, right? You can be given A, B, or C, or you can be given F, right? Application of accounting and business models, you can be given A, B, or C, or F, right? It all will include in research report. You should note that it all will include in the research report, right? It all will include in the research report. Similarly, presentation of project findings, yeah, you must be finding in your research. You can be given A, B, C, or F. So you have to incorporate all these in your research report, and that's how your research report is going to be evaluated, right? Similarly, evaluation of information analysis and conclusions, A, B, and C, and F, right? In SLS, what's going to be learned in SLS, the self-reflection, right? You won't be provided a grade from here. You won't be provided the grade from here. You will either be graded as a pass or fail, right? You will either be graded as a pass or fail. So in SLS, you have to provide the self-reflection. It's not basically a casted or just a drafted model. It's your reflection of what you have learned from OBU or RR, right? And communication skills. It gives you the communication skills that it basically SLS would require you to justify the meetings. SLS would require you to justify the meetings with the mentor. So you need to communicate in that SLS, that how you communicated with your mentor, what your mentor asked, and how did you just drafted that, and how did you presented your project to the mentor. So the communication skills are evaluated in SLS, right? So the communication skills are evaluated in the SLS. The grade obtained by the demonstrated technical and professional skills in the overall grade for RAP, right? At OBU, work is assessed against assessment criteria. For each assessment criteria, we publish the standard expected for pass A, B, and C. Now, here comes a question that's whether the grade matter here, right? Now, a student has asked that's whether the grade uh, really matter. So what's your answer in this position? Yeah, I'll definitely say the grade matter for your degree. I'll definitely say the grade matter, because in ACCA you just go for 50. If you have 50, you just pass, right? But in here, I'll say the grade matters. Why? Because the grade would demonstrate the degree of OBU, that what sort of degree you are going to get, whether you are going to get the first class, whether you are going to get first class, or you are going to get upper second, lower second, and all that. So the grade matters, right? The grade matters. I'll just publish a picture here. I'll just extract a picture here which will justify that how your grade matters, right? That how your grade matters. So here it is. See? Right? So the grade obviously matters here. Specifically, see how the BSc degree is awarded. Just think of it. How the BSc degree is awarded. Specifically, the award for BSc in Applied Accounting is based on both the ACCA average mark determined from the exam, right, and the grade achieved in the research report. So the degree would determined by your grade and the marks, right? So here's a combo. Like if you have 68 or more, if you had 68 or more average, right? If you had 68 or more as an average, so whether you got A grade in the degree, or you got B, or you get C, you'll get the first class. So now take the calculators, go for F4 to F9 and think of your average. And if average comes 68 or more, then don't worry of the grade. Either you are getting A, B, C, you'll be given 68. You'll be given the first class, right? Yeah, rounded up from 0.5, and below 0.5 the round down, right? So if anyone student had 67.5, its marks are average 68. If any student had 67.4, its marks are 67, right? So see, so marks as well as the grade matters to determine the class, right? The first class, the upper second, the lower second, and the third. Similarly, if you have 67, if you have got 67, then A and B grade would lead you to the first class. A and B grade would lead you to the first class, whereas C grade would lead you to the upper second. If you had average of 66, the A grade would lead you to the first class, and the B and C would lead you to the upper second. If you are in between of 60 to 65, then forget the first class, right? If you are in between of the 60 to 65, then forget the first class. As A, B, and C, all the resources would provide you upper second, right? As A, B, and C, all the grades would provide you upper second. If you are getting 59 as an average, then A, B grade in the research report and SLS would lead you to upper second, and C would lead you to lowest. So that's why I asked you that grade matters, right? That's why I asked you that grade matters here, right? That grade matters here. So any questions till now? Yeah, you guys will be given the complete info pack, and I'll just request the students that once they have taken this session, they should be once they have taken this session, they should be going for the complete reading of info pack, and they'll have some important paras being highlighted, that how the A grade is going to be given, how the B grade is going to be given, what are the mentors for, what they want to do, what they should do, what they should not do to the students, right? So everything is given in those details, so you should be doing that, right? You should be having a look on that. And the last thing which I'll just give you and then conclude the session is resubmission. That's the last thing, right? That's the last thing that I'll just give it to you, and that's resubmission, right? Now see, here's the resubmission and what to resubmit. As I told you, there are multiple stances for the students that have passed RR but has faced SLS. And similarly, there are multiple very rare things that the student, it's very rare that student has failed RR but has passed SLS. So it's very rare, but can possible. So see, if you have passed RR, right? If you have passed RR and passed SLS, it's just a table. If you have passed RR and passed SLS, so it's a complete gamer that no action is required, right? If you have passed research report and passed SLS, so no gamer, nothing, no action required, right? If you have passed SLS but failed RR, right? If you have passed SLS but failed RR, then what you need to do? If you have passed SLS, right? If you have passed SLS, think of that. If you have passed SLS but failed RR, then what you need to do? You should resubmit your RR, rewriting any sections you have failed only. Then that means you do not need to make the research report complete, right? You do not need to make the research report complete. You'll just be making those sections in which you are failed, right? The examiner would provide you a feedback, would let you know that in which sections you are failed, and you'll just need to make those sections. You do not need to resubmit your SLS. Yeah, no needing of resubmitting the SLS. You'll be fully kept at a grade C for any successful subsequent RR, even if you have resubmitted the assistance being of the higher pass grade. Yeah, like in resubmission, you'll be given a mandatory C grade. You'll be given a mandatory C grade. So now that means if you have an average of 68 and you have just failed your RR and now you have been given the C grade, still you will be getting the first class. Still you'll be getting the first class, right? So now it comprises the scenarios, right? Now see, if you have passed SLS and passed RR, no action. If you have passed SLS, failed RR, these are the actions, right? Now the second table, failed SLS. If you have failed SLS, right? If you have failed SLS but passed RR, so what to do? You should rewrite and resubmit your SLS. If you passed one of the SLS sections, you should not amend the passed section, right? Again, only those sections need to be amended in which you are failed. Only those sections need to be amended in which you are failed, right? Nothing to be the past one. And the examiner would provide you the feedback, and that feedback need to be accounted for in it. You can resubmit a revised RR, right? You cannot resubmit a revised RR. The pass awarded in your RR will carry forward and the RAP grade if you are subsequently successful in your SLS, and there's no fixed grade you can get, right? If you have failed SLS and failed RR too. If you have failed SLS and failed RR, now what's in it? You should resubmit whole research report, rewriting any sections you have failed, right? Whole research report needs to be submission. And if you have failed a couple of sections, you can rewrite those sections. You should also rewrite and resubmit your SLS. If you passed one of the SLS sections, you should not amend the section, right? And you'll be kept at C grade. So similar rules. So now I think the every query is resolved, that if you passed research report and SLS, what to do? If you pass research report But failed SLS, what you do? If you failed both, then what to do? And all that, right? If you failed your RR and resubmit with the same topic and organization, right? And resubmit with a different topic and organization. It's also a question. It's also a question, right? It's also a question. So if you failed research report, now you can go on the same topic and submissions and companies, right? If you failed, then you can change obviously the companies and all that. So rules for all resubmissions, that within the next 4 period following your original submission, it is not necessary to use the latest financial statements. Yeah, that's not necessary. Like if you have failed in 2022 and the 2024 financials are available, you do not need to have a look on the 2024. You can think on the periods in which you have worked, right? More than 4 periods from the date of your original submission period, you must use the latest. Yeah, if there are 4 periods being passed, you have failed in 2022, it's 2028, and 2027 financials are available, so you have to look into the recent financials, right? Because the 4 years are passed. If you have failed both sections of your SLS, you must also rewrite and resubmit the SLS. If you passed one of the SLS sections, you do not need to amend the sections, right? No, you need to amend. If you're resubmitting with a different topic and organization, you must use the latest financial statements, right? If you have also failed to pass both sections of your SLS, you must rewrite that submissions, right? Now, any of the question that student asked, that how many attempts do a person have, right? There's a question that student usually asks. That's probably the last question, that how many attempts do a student of BSc have? So it have 2 or 3 attempts, right? It have 3 attempts only. I'll highlight it as a bold. So it have 3 attempts only, not more than that, right? Not more than that. 1 first time submission and 2 resubmissions, to total 3 times, right? If you do not pass after the third submission, you will no longer be eligible for BSc in applied accounting and will not be available to resubmit. So you are not available to resubmit, right? Then there are some other important paragraphs, such as your project mentor, preparing your new project, updating your project. So these all can be read, right? Then suggested format of resubmission statement, right? So a resubmission process and all that. It's a complete book in which I have just shortened it. I have just made it short for you, right? I have just made it short for you so that you guys can think on it, right? So here's the complete info pack, and then here we have the mini info pack with myself, right? I'll be sharing both. You guys can go through it when you are required. Yeah. So just a quick revision that we discussed this in this session. What is BSc Applied Accounting, right? What is the eligibility criteria? F7, F8, F9 game is to pass, right? You have to forfeit if you have been exempted, and once you have forfeited, you cannot just reverse that decision. Bursaries, how you can get a bursary if you are in a financial difficulty. You need to visit that page, you need to submit the form, and then they will think on it. Project requirements, there are 5 deliverables. RAP was detailedly discussed, SLS was detailedly discussed, right? Here are the things, here are the grades that can be given. Then we have topics. We discussed 15 topics, right? We just go through the 15 topics, in which 3 were very easy, which are usually having more than 90% passing rate, right? Another was given, that was 15. We summarized SLS and research report requirement. The thesis of the previous period and the new period are here, right? Then we have assessment criteria, that the grades that you're going to be having. And then we have the resubmission, that how do the resubmission takes place, right? Then we have the resubmission, that how do a resubmission takes place. Now, I'll be making some more informative sessions of OBU, right? I'll be making some more informative sessions of OBU. So don't you need to worry on that. My classes are starting from the next week for the upcoming November and my 24, right? But my target is November 2023. So you guys can look into it. If there are any queries, you guys can text me on WhatsApp. My number is +92 331 2623 849. It's my number, so you can look into it. You can have any discussion if you want to have with me. You can visit at me on campus, visit campus and meet me, right? I'm available here on Saturday and Sunday. So it will be a great experience for every student, that those who are opting for BSc. And obviously, in my mentoring service, I'll try to cover maximum things, the maximum guidance I can provide to any student. And obviously, it's an important thing to have a degree, as well as if you're having a qualification by yourself. So it's going to be an important combo that you must be having in order to succeed and in order to run in a race of the world, right? So being an accountant, you'll be needing these things, right? So let's conclude today's session. I guess it was informative, and every of the query that I usually student ask for the OBU has been answered. If there are any questions left, you can write in the comment sections. You can text me on WhatsApp. You can ask any of the counselor that are presented at MHA. So that would be great, right? So it's all from my side. If there are any questions, you guys can ask at any time. Take care. Allah Hafiz.